All right, so when you think of a lethal warrior in comics, you don't usually think heroes. But today I kind of want to talk about 5 heroes who sometimes, or almost all the time, use lethal methods to dispose of their enemies. And I'm going to avoid the obvious ones or the obvious anti-hero status, which to me is someone like the Punisher or Jason Todd. They're just aimed and created to be an anti-hero. Now, these other characters I want to talk about, you could consider them anti-heroes at times, but I don't believe they really are most of the time. You know, more often than not, they are considered or touted as superheroes or heroes in general. And usually they have some type of remorse or other reasons of why they use violent methods. So, without any further ado, let's get into the list, and I want you to list your favorite violent or lethal superheroes. And of course, you could put Punisher or Jason Todd. That's fine. Just for me, I'm going to exclude them out of the list this time because they're a little too obvious. But one that might be pretty obvious also is Wolverine, more so Logan than Laura, because Laura tried to disavow her killing nature and became a better person when she had the mantle of Wolverine. So Logan does try to take on that mentorship role a lot more in his life later on, especially with the X-Kids, but his true feral nature is downright scary. On top of that, Logan has no issue going back to his more violent tendencies if he finds it is needed. Not only is he sent on missions sometimes for the sole purpose, but he also does it on his own accord. And this is talking about main continuity Wolverine, but also we can talk about out of continuity like Old Man Logan universe. Logan is a force of nature, and I would not want to be in between him and whoever the fuck he's hunting when he is mad. My number 4 has to be Moon Knight, because good old Moon Knight, with his multiple personality disorder, some of his personalities are a bit more vicious than others. He sometimes converts into a different personality just to get the job done because one of the personalities cannot handle it. He has no problem slicing, dicing, and beating your ass down just to scare the shit out of you or scare the people around him. If you have Taskmaster say no thanks to hunting him down, you know that Moon Knight put the scare into one of the most trained hand-to-hand combat warriors in the Marvel Universe, seeing as he could copy pretty much any hero that he faces hand-to-hand. So, if he's like, no thank you, you know that Moon Knight is a little too scary or lethal for him to go after. Alright, number 3 is Midnighter. Now, Batman was a character I was going to put on here, and I still think he's pretty lethal and brutal at times, because despite his no-kill route, the dude pretty much cripples, hipples, and dipples your ass to finish you. But I feel like Batman puts more of the fear into people sometimes than actually doing something, which is pretty cool. But for someone like Midnighter, that would pretty much be a half-measured action. Going full measured would be Midnighter just showing who he is. And if you don't know who that is, he's just as tough as Batman, and he will murder you if he sees fit that you are a piece of shit. If you are a horrible person or even a creature, he will probably beat you to death. He will slaughter your friends if they're villains as well, and then he will get home in time to cook dinner for his hubby. Do not fuck with the Midnighter. Number 2 is going to be the Hulk, and possibly probably one of the most horrifying things to see before your death would be an enraged Hulk. Now, Hulk isn't always violent. There has been moments he is a nice guy, usually when Banner has control. Now, when Hulk goes full berserk, well, he's nearly unstoppable. From the Ultimate Universe that he nearly took out the entire Ultimates team, which is the equivalent of the Avengers team in that universe. He also tore Wolverine in half in that universe, with ease, I might add. On top of that, just in the regular 616 universe, he fought in Planet Hulk with pure smarts, and he did not hesitate to fuck shit up. This showed both a violent tendency but also a smart Hulk, being a little scary to have both. Even more so, he comes back to Earth and then declares war on all the heroes, especially ones who sent him off into space. So Hulk will pretty much demolish and smash what he needs to. So yeah, Hulk's a little freaking scary. And my number 1 is not a Marvel or DC character. It is Invincible, aka Mark. And he has been through hell and back. But what works about Mark is that he feels very human despite being half alien. His reaction to the world and the villains coming at him seems very natural to most viewers reading or even now watching the show. So when he explodes and beats that person down to a bloody pulp or to death sometimes, you really get to see the showcase of how powerful he truly is. Mark has some of the most brutal meetings that I've ever seen in comics, but the best one has to be against Conquest. Now this is a little bit spoilers for people who have not read the comic because this is a comic video, but Conquest is a fucking psycho who comes down to Earth at the worst possible time to try to kill Mark. Now, when Mark fights back, it explodes into a bloody mess, which is one of the best and most brutal fights I have ever seen in comics. Just nasty, as you can see on the screen. Mark is very much a hero, in my opinion. He does a lot of good, but that doesn't mean that he hasn't gotten his hands dirty and fucked shit up. And that is my top 5 most lethal or violent superheroes. Now, there's a lot to choose from out there. There's ones that I enjoyed but didn't quite crack the top 5 like I mentioned earlier. And then there's some I just excluded because I don't ever view them really as heroes, especially Punisher or Jason Todd when he was full-on Red Hood. Now he's kind of more of an anti-hero, really. He doesn't really kill much, but Punisher is a fucking psychopath. I would never consider him a hero anytime, anywhere, at any given moment. This is my top 5 list, but I would love to hear yours or just a few that you really enjoy that are a little bit on the more violent side. And if you like this video, please hit that like button. That always means a lot to me. If you love this video, hit the subscribe. That means you're going to get more of my content coming down the line. And I want everybody to just go out, pick up a comic, and enjoy your day.